Hey everyone, we got some great news for Ford stock investors today as the company updated sales figures that showed excellent growth across the board. So in this video, I'll review those latest figures. I'll answer what they could mean for Ford stock investors, and I'll update my buy recommendation for Ford stock, let you know if I think the stock is a buy, hold, or a sell. So let's get into it, starting with the sales figures.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, so Ford reporting sales figures for the month of May in 2024, and electric vehicles surged, increasing 64.7% to 8,966. That was up from 5,444 in the same month last year. Ford has been increasing production of its electric vehicles, and that's leading to increasing sales as the company produces more and has more availability. Hybrid vehicles remain popular, increasing 64.5% up to 17,631. That was up from 10,715. Still, more popular by a wide margin are internal combustion legacy vehicles. 163,000 in sales, up from 154,000 the same time last year, for an increase of 5.6%. So thinking about it on a sales figure increase, internal combustion engine vehicle sales increased by more than hybrid or electric vehicles. Electric vehicle sales increased by roughly 4,000, hybrids by roughly 7,000, but internal combustion engine increased by roughly 9,000. And that demonstrates that more consumers go with the legacy option, the traditional option of internal combustion engine, much more so than any of the other models. Nearly 10 times more than hybrid vehicles for Ford, and nearly 20 times more than electric vehicles for Ford. It's just more convenient for many folks, and the price is more affordable for many folks. Overall, total vehicle sales increased by 11.2% for Ford, up to 190,000 vehicles. That was up from 170,000 vehicles in the same month last year. So sales are increasing for Ford as supply chain shortages have pretty much eased completely. Ford can produce as many vehicles as it feels its customers will buy, and it's now doing so without constraints. Remember earlier, 2022, 2021, 2020, there were significant supply chain constraints, and Ford was only producing those models it felt were the most profitable instead of producing as many models as it felt it could sell. So now that production is up, sales are up, Ford is taking back market share that it lost in those times when it was supply constrained. So for the full year, the Ford has guided, the CFO said that for the full year, operating income is going to track to the higher end of the $10 billion to $12 billion range. And given these figures we've seen in May, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next quarterly update, Ford tells investors that their operating income is going to be, they cut out that bottom end of that range, because it doesn't look like the year is going to go anywhere near the bottom end of the range. It's going to be more so on the higher end of the range from what we've seen so far in 2024. I wouldn't be surprised if they take out that 10 and tell us it's going to be 11 to 12 billion or 11 to 12.5 or 11 to 13. And the company said that it expects to generate adjusted free cash flow between 6.5 to 7.5 billion. That was up from the initial outlook of 6 billion to 77 billion provided earlier. So they've already increased the free cash flow guidance for 2024. That's why I would say it wouldn't be surprising if the company increases the profitability outlook for 2024. Still, the EV segment is struggling for profitability. The company forecasting the EV segment will lose 5 to 5.5 billion, and the company will generate these massive losses at least this year, probably next year as well. And you can understand why Ford is de-emphasizing this or decreasing investments in the growth of its electric vehicle business when it has such profitable segments that are booming, including the Ford Pro segment and its legacy auto segment. So Ford sales are going strong, and it hasn't been strong just in May. It's been strong year to date, 5.6% increase in total vehicle sales year to date for 877,000 total sales. That was up from 830,000 in the same time last year. So a robust year of sales for Ford Motor Company in 2024, led by, of course, internal combustion engine sales. And then the growth drivers have been hybrid and electric vehicles. Those are up 50% and 87.8% respectively year to date, but they still consist of a small fraction of the company's overall total sales. They're growing robustly, but they're still a small fraction. They will continue to grow as the company increases production, finds economies in scale. As they produce more, they'll be able to produce them at lower cost and lower the prices for consumers. However, competition is heating up in electric vehicles. Many other electric vehicle brands, including Tesla and Rivian and Lucid, are coming out with lower priced models, and that's going to heat up competition in the categories that Ford Motor Company operates. So Ford is trading at a forward price to earnings of 6.104, and they've been trading at this valuation ever since July of 2022. It's fluctuated around this valuation. Now, I've previously updated Ford stock and told investors the stock was not a buy. I had it rated as a hold, and I last updated that on May 21st. And updating it following these sales numbers, I'm keeping it rated as a hold. I'm not upgrading Ford stock, even though the sales numbers were solid. I don't like the car industry overall. It's one of my least favorite industries for investments. It's highly capital intensive. It takes billions and billions of dollars in investment for the car companies. It's very competitive. You've seen a vast amount of oversupply in the industry, and it's highly cyclical. When people lose their jobs, they're not going to go out and buy a new car. So for all those reasons, I don't like the car industry. And Ford Motor Company, even though they've been doing well in 2024, because they're in the car industry, it kind of puts them at a disadvantage. And so I'm keeping the stock rated as a hold or not a buy. Did you know that over 90% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed? It'll really help support my channel if you hit that subscribe button. And oh, by the way, one of the benefits of being subscribed is that I take requests from subscribers more often than I do from non-subscribers. So if you prefer that benefit, please subscribe to the channel.